Afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Music Scene Investigation. We're going to switch things around here a little bit today. We've got some surprises in store for everybody, including myself. But we're happy you're with us, and we're looking forward to a great show today. A couple of things we're changing around today. Just for today, hopefully. Everything will be back to normal afterwards. We have a new in-house panelist sitting on with us today. Normally, Tom Chianti, Ian Husbands are in-house panelists. However, today, a little bit different. We have John Gherkensmeyer joining us. Jay, how are you, man? Glad you had the opportunity or took the opportunity to sit in with us, man.
No, I'm fine. I'm with some coffee. Call me on Skype. I'm good here.
It hasn't changed at all then, I guess. So,
Not at all.
yeah, now, we don't know where Tommy is, but you had some time and were gracious enough to sit in on the panel with us today, so we definitely appreciate that.
I'm just here for the paycheck, guys.
We told you we're going to send you twice as much as what we normally send Tommy, so it's all good, right?
I want 4 times.
Okay, 4 times, no problem. I think we can scrape that together.
I think we can, yeah.
Yeah. So now, everybody who may not be familiar with Jay, and the reason I say that is because not everybody who watches IC Weekly necessarily watches Music Scene Investigation. Jay is a guitarist who learned the guitar with some pretty heavy guys, you know. Jay, tell us who taught you guitar.
Tommy taught me everything I know.
Oh, come on.
I
Grateful,
swear to God.
Grateful Dead. Who was he? Jerry Garcia.
As a very young kid, I was able to hang out with the likes of Garcia and Buckingham and people like that.
Now
the South, the Mid-Peninsula era in the 60s was pretty hot and heavy, so I was around.
Now, my understanding is, and I've heard this story many times from you, is Jerry Garcia taught you to play guitar, and then Lindsey Buckingham was in the same band as you were, your first band.
Yes, that's the way it went down, and not much progressed from that.
And yeah, he figured out he was better than y'all and said, forget this.
That's right, and it didn't take long, and he was gone, and they were all gone on their merry way, and they just kind of left me there in the dust. So now I'm in top dust.
I mean, you're in bigger and better things now. You moved to Hawaii, living the large life.
That's right, you know.
It's all good, man. I appreciate you coming in, Jay. I really do, man.
I'm here for the money.
No, that's all it takes. That's all it takes. And Ian, of course, is still with us, and we're happy for that as well. Ian, as always, I'm grateful every time you show up.
1 second, Rich. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Aliens, really? He's been abducted by aliens. That's official. Tommy's been abducted by aliens, guys.
Are they from what planet? I want to find out if they're friend or foe.
Got my mate Obama on the phone here. He's just told me that, we don't know. I mean, he's talking anal probes and all sorts of things. It's strange.
Okay, so they're his friends then. All right.
Cheers,
They'll try to give him back. We don't want him.
So, it's official. Tom is been abducted by aliens, ladies and gentlemen. We're sorry to announce that live on air, but these things happen.
They do happen.
Are you in the shower today, Ian? Is that your shower curtain behind you?
That's I've been basically moved to a secure location, obviously because Tom's been abducted by aliens, so right. No one can know where I am.
Okay, well, let's move on before they figure it out from the creases in the so-called shower curtain. All right, our guest panelist this week, everyone, we're happy to have him back with us. He's been on the show with us a number of times before. Is guitarist extraordinaire Leigh Heggarty. Leigh, glad to have you back with us, man.
Oh, good to see you. Good to see you. It's good to be back. A surprise visit. Ian called me yesterday and asked me what I was doing, and it's indicative of how little work I've got at the moment that I was available straight away. So,
well, you know, I tell you, we appreciate you being able to join us on short notice. Both you and Jay are short notice guys for us today, and you know, I know that. You know, I go through everybody's bio before the show, and I keep reading through your bio. of how many different bands that you've started, how many different groups that you've been involved with. And I got to say, you know, we were talking before the show, you said, you know, you've had a lot of time on your hands lately, and I'm thinking to myself, you could have started 3 or 4 bands by now.
Yeah, I let that slip, didn't I? Wow, I had a couple of weeks off. I should have started a couple of acts up. Well, funnily enough, I am in the throes of thinking of something new at the moment, so that is on the cards. But yeah, regrettably, we've had a few sort of cancellations and things like that. It's quite a difficult time, but we'll get through it. Yeah, you do.
Now, I don't know if you want me to talk about this, but I have heard some rumors that you're gonna be busy fairly soon with some pretty cool stuff going on.
There's some very good. A couple of the acts I play with are starting to do some quite big gigs, which is kind of cool. I play in a Blues Brothers theatre show over here called the Chicago Blues Brothers, and we do, as I say, theatre work, some corporate work, been to Europe a bit and things like that. And we went to Dubai last year playing. Implausibly, we're playing the Proms in Hyde Park in September, which is extraordinary. It's going to be a very interesting experience. I think there could be tens of thousands of people with a bit of luck.
Now, for those of us here in the U.S., can you tell us what the Proms are? I'm not sure I know exactly what you mean by that.
I think they call them the Promenade Concerts is the full name for them. They were always very classically orientated at the Royal Albert Hall and places like that, and they still do that. And they tend to be themed, so they'll have a night of Beethoven, or they'll have a similar type of thing. In recent years, they've opened that out a bit, fairly obviously, if they're putting people like me on there, to include more sort of popular music, all sorts of things. And they now do an open air show in Hyde Park, some of which is broadcast sort of simultaneously with the big concert at the Albert Hall, and they kind of flick between the two of them. So it's a very big. When I was younger, I always remember it being a very traditional occasion, very sort of British, if you like. You know, a lot of flag waving and God knows what else. These days, it's a little bit less so, perhaps. But as I say, from my point of view, it's going to be incredible to play something like that. It's something that you never think you're going to do, if you like, especially if you play, you know, rock and roll. You never think you're going to play an occasion like that.
But it sounds, you know, you say they're expanding things a bit to expand it into the genre of blues. I think is great. I mean, blues is just as classic to me as what Beethoven is, you know, and things like that. So I think the blues would fit perfect.
Yeah, I mean, I think this raises an interesting point, doesn't it? I mean, the music of the what we might call the popular music of the 20th century, whether you look at blues or bringing it forward to the 60s, a lot of that music will and should live forever, you know, and why shouldn't it still be around in hundreds of years' time? So I think it can, without sounding too pretentious, it can be seen in the same way. You know, it's something that we should be passing on. We should be proud of it. You know?
I definitely agree with you on that. I think that's a great thing. And now, any chance you coming over to the States anytime soon?
Wow, well, that would be a nice idea. That's been spoken about by. I also play, one of the other acts I play for is a band called Ruts D.C, which we've spoken on here before. Mm-hmm. Originally the punk band, or sort of punky type band, the Ruts over here, were quite successful. The singer died, they became Ruts D.C. This was about 30 years ago, and to cut a long story short, I'm now playing guitar with 2 of the original members. I've got the band back together. We're playing some festivals in the summer, including the Rebellion Festival in Blackpool, which is a big, one of Europe's biggest sort of punk, new wave, that kind of music festivals. But the band is also expanding a bit now. We're looking for gigs elsewhere, and we're playing a few other things. And one of the places that has been mentioned is the United States of America, and I really hope we can. I really hope we can get across. I've only been over to America once playing, and it was a great thing to do. So I'm hoping that we can get there.
Well, I certainly hope that if you do have the opportunity to come to the States, you keep us updated. Let us know, because I would like to see you and meet you and come to the show and whatnot. And if it's anywhere close, by golly, I'll drive up and definitely show up. I think that'd be great.
Well, I really hope it happens. I hope we can invite you along.
That would be fun. I would even pay my own way, I promise.
Yes, you will. Yes. No, I'm sure we can find in our bottomless pockets. We can get you.
Oh, I would never ask that. But okay, so we're looking at the promenades. We're looking at the possibility, and again, my fingers are crossed on this, that maybe the States sometime. So anything else? What else you got under the hood that's going on? Top secret projects, anything like that?
And I play in some other bands, as you know. I've got a band called The Uppercut, which does a lot of work just around kind of West London, just sort of pubs and club stuff, really, but really good fun. But the other thing that is about to be reactivated. A good friend of mine is a chap called John King, who is an author. He wrote a book called The Football Factory, which was made into a very successful film. He's written a number of books, some of them sort of music-based, others with some based on some other subjects. But he wrote a book called Human Punk a few years ago, and that's about to be. He's got a screenplay at the moment for that, which he's trying to get a film done from. So there's a chance of being involved with that. But he's also another one of his books called The Prison House. He and I have sat down and worked on an album based on the story of that. And we're hoping to get that off the ground in sometime, hopefully by the end of the summer. We wrote the basic ideas for it several years ago now, but we've been kind of working on it on and off.
This is music based on the book?
That's right, yeah. It all sounds terribly pretentious, and frankly, it probably is. But you've got to have a go at something like this.
Now, I'm thinking, now I understand that there are many reasons to write this, but is it possible that the music from this could be used along, in the screenplay, to accompany the movie?
Well, yeah, I mean, the screenplay for Human Punk, which is the first thing he's working on at the moment, that's set in the 70s and sort of relates to the punk times. So I've got a chance, depending on how that goes, I may be involved in that. The Prison House is a very different story. It's the subject is in it. The guy in it is imprisoned. We don't know why. We find out at the end why, but he goes through a number of trials in prison. And we've written some music based on. John rewrote it as song lyrics, if you like, from some of the stuff in the book, and we've written music around that to hopefully put out as an album. But that's another one that he's going to try and develop as a screenplay in the future. So that will be a long time in the future, but who knows? Maybe that might get used. But it's a really interesting thing to try to do.
Sounds like you're working on a lot of potential opportunities. Here's what it is.
Yeah, I'd like to think so. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I definitely. I hear the whole tie-ins. I can see all the different tie-ins working here. So it sounds like great opportunities.
I hope so. Yeah, I mean, it's hard work, but it's good fun. And you have to work. Don't you have to work hard at stuff? It doesn't happen if you don't make it work.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Hard work is everybody's dream, and it's part of what we do and why we do what we do here.
No. Hard work isn't everybody's dream.
Okay.
The results of hard work are people's dreams.
Oh, well, I would rather work hard.
Most people would like the results without all the hard work. I mean, let's face it. Let's be honest here.
Leigh, would you like the results without the hard work?
I think it's nice to be able to work at something that you enjoy doing, and most of the time I'm lucky enough to be able to do that. So it's a kind of double thing there. Isn't it?
All right. Jay, would you like all the results without the hard work?
I'd rather just have no hard work, and if the results come, I don't care.
Okay, all right. Now, so Ian, just to prove the point here, it's kind of split 50-50. You and Jay kind of don't like the hard work, and Leigh and I are we like the work.
Hell, I'll put the hard work in, but if I can get the results without hard work, then so be it.
But what would you do in the meantime then?
Chill, relax, go on holiday, take a bath in baked beans just because I could.
Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't we listen to and review some music instead?
Rich.
Yeah.
Have you seen all the empty Jack Daniels bottles outside of Ian's house?
That's a real good point. It's a real good point. I have seen pictures on CNN and Fox News and things like that. So yeah. He single-handedly keeps them in business over there. So it's all good, though. It's all good. Tell you what, guys, we got 3 songs we need to get to today. And why don't we go ahead and let everybody and yourselves listen to the first track today. So go ahead and listen to that, and we'll play it back for everybody else on in the audience as well. So everybody, this is today's first song on Music Scene Investigation. Hope you enjoy it.
We don't care what you have to say. We don't respect your treaties. We're not confined by your lines. We won't be held by boundaries. We look your soldiers in the eye and laugh at your democracy. A call to arms was not enough to stop us being free. 'Cause you know that we're here and we're coming out of everywhere. We're taking control, so it's time to repel. And we don't care what you have to say. We don't respect your treaties. We're not confined by your lies. We won't be held by boundaries. We look your soldiers in the eye, laugh at your democracy. A call to arms is not enough to stop us being free. 'Cause you know that we're here and we're coming out of everywhere. We're taking control, so it's time to repent. You fed on our souls and you've stolen our possessions. So now we've got nothing left except for us. Cause you know that we're here and we're coming out of everywhere. We're taking control, so it's time to repent. You fed on our souls and you've stolen our possessions. Now we've got nothing left except for us.
And there is track number 1 on today's MSI. All right, now the way we're going to do this, I'm going to go to Ian first. So Ian, tell me what you think of track number 1.
This really reminded me of a song sort of from a band called Moist in the 90s. I think it was in the 1990s. They had a big hit over here in the UK with a song called Push. And this was really reminiscent of that track to me. I mean, there is something here, but overall, something was missing. The vocal had a lot of character, but I don't think he pushed himself as well as he could have done. I think his performance could have been better. He could have been less monotone and worked that melody a little bit harder. You know, just made me feel it a little bit more. He was almost there. I mean, the whole song was quite gritty. There was a gritty solo on there. I liked that. All the outro noise that sort of came in, it works for this style of track. I mean, overall, the mix was pretty strong. Everything was there except for the bass. The bass, to me, was just very nondescript. It didn't do anything special. It didn't really sit in the mix anywhere where it needed to be. It was just there, if that makes sense. It didn't really add to the song. And it could do with a much better bass line, I think, someone working on that, a bit more melodic. Yeah, it just missed something overall for me. Some harmonies would have done this the world of good. So I think I say this a lot on here, layering up those vocal lines, especially in the choruses, and just to emphasise points in the lyrics. And again, the lyrics haven't really stuck with me, or the hook hasn't really stuck with me in this. Again, so I just think that vocal is so monotone, it just doesn't go anywhere. You know, there really is the start of a good track here. The drums and the guitars sound great. They're well performed. It's got an edge of good songwriting here. It just needs to go back to the start, rework the lyrics, add in some vocal layering, and just tighten everything up a little bit.
All right. Well, I appreciate it, Ian. Thank you very much. Let's go to John, find out what he thought. John, what did you think of track number 1?
Well, as Ian started out, his first thing he said was something was missing, and then he finally got to the point of what I was thinking. I heard no bass. I heard a rumble, but I kept saying, "Where's the bass?" There was a bottom end, but it wasn't anything distinct. It was just like a rumble to me. Other than that, well, another negative I thought was the drums didn't sound quite right to me. They sounded, I don't know, I couldn't tell if they were hand played or some sort of software or something. I couldn't really tell, which is that's not good or bad in either direction. But it's a little wimpy of a sound to me. The drums could have sounded a little bit better. I couldn't hear the kick drum because I couldn't hear any bass, and on and on. One thing I did like is apparently it was a Brit singing it, and it sounded like a Brit singing, which I like. The song itself I thought was pretty good. I thought it's pretty. I don't know what he was saying, but I usually don't know what they're saying exactly. That's not important either. All in all, except for no bass, no distinguishable bass, I thought it was a darn good song. I liked it a lot.
All right. Thank you, John. Appreciate that. And Leigh Heggarty, our guest panelist. Leigh, what did you think?
Right. Okay. Yeah, I enjoyed that. Ian mentioned a band called Moist. I remember the kind of late 80s, early 90s. There were a lot of bands over here that were always described as indie, and they got some very other names as well. We're into that. But there was a band called Thousand Yard Stare that our band The Price played with quite a lot. And they used that drum beat, that dum dum da 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 dum da dum dum da 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 dum, that very busy drum beat. And I used to always think, just play boom ba boom boom ba. It sounded loads better. And of course, they had loads of success and we didn't. So it shows what I knew. But listening to that there, it brought to mind that kind of late 80s thing. Very busy drums, kind of chugging guitar, which it was a nice moment when it started up. I thought, oh yeah, that's kind of familiar. Sounded like a kind of an E chord on the start, and that kind of whoish chug, which I liked. And the upward sequence made me think of I Can See for Miles, which is no bad thing in my house. It's one of my favourite records. Lyrics a bit naive, but I don't think it's bad to be idealistic, and I think that's kind of cool. Really, I like things like that. As Ian said, nice little guitar bit. I felt the song needed a middle section for me. There was a kind of a middle eight, or waited for it to go into something, and it went into the solo, which was good. Then maybe I thought a different vocal could have come out of that, different vocal line, and maybe back to the original line might have been good. Definitely agree with Ian on the backing vocals as well. There could have been some oohs and ahs going up through that sequence. It would have made it a bit more of a hook to the song. But overall, I liked it. But I must admit, I was listening for the bass as well. And I wasn't sure whether to mention that or not, but since everyone else has, I will. But yeah, I liked it. That was good.
All right.
And definitely the English vocal I kind of like as well, which you're probably going to say it was from Italy or somewhere. It sounded very English to me, and I like that as well.
All right. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much, Leigh. Now, I won't tell you it was Italian or anything like that because I don't know, to be perfectly honest. But I will take the opportunity to introduce the track to you and let you know exactly who it was. The name of the track is Call to Arms. It's got by a group called Sibaroni, or Sibaroni, S-I-B-Aroni. So you can take that for what it's worth. It could be Italian. I don't know. But that's exactly right. Nobody does. Now, if you're an indie artist who wants to get your track in queue for review by our panelists, you need to head over to musicsceneinvestigation.com and sign up and then submit your track at the Submit a Song button at the top of the page. If your song is selected as Song of the Week, you're in the mix to play on the hit list. That's right. Once a month, we'll get all our Song of the Weeks together from the previous month, pit them against each other for gear, gadgets, and PR packages. So you want to pay attention to that one. MSI itself is not a contest, but the hit list is. So take that into advisement. All right, gentlemen.
I just want to say,
Yes,
I think
sir.
the last band were fans of Danger Mouse, which was a cartoon we had over here, because they had a thing called Baron Greenback. He was the baddie, and whenever he sort of said to his henchmen, which were crows in raincoats, he gave them orders, they go, Sibaroni.
Well, you may indeed know all about it then. I don't know. I don't.
See, Pinky agrees.
He does. He does. He also agrees with every one of our panelists that a bass line was apparently missing from that song. So let's go ahead and see if we can find a bass line in song number 2. So let's go ahead and take a listen to that track as well. So here it is, everyone. Song number 2 on today's MSI.
Make the burn slow. I be on them trees like I'm in a jungle. Been leaning off the rock from the get-go. But best believe I keep that pump on me like a sicko. Wrist so cold, call me a mule fiend. Green diamonds looking like a whole case of Heineken. V-neck skinny jeans, stupid fruity SB. Bank account super fat, it's about to have a heart attack. I'm smoking on some I had your whole face paralyzed. All white mercy, Twizzlers on the inside. Mac, catch this, some fans like Gordon. You been on that boy for years like Jordan. It's gonna be a long night, I'ma be up all night. Hit the club, throwing stacks, cause you know my money right. Swag so ridiculous, nigga looking excellent. And it's about time I relearn my medicine. I'm on that Diddy, I'm on that Bob Marley. I'm on that Diddy, I'm on that Bob Marley. I'm on that Diddy, I'm on that Bob Marley. I'm on that Diddy, I'm on that Bob Marley. Now I'm on that Bob Marley. Just a balance script, now I'm going to my Marley. Down that Marley, in so foreign. 325, beamer for my darling. Looking for you ain't baking in the air hardy. Good with that, like a dentist doing flossing. Take it to the throat with no gag in a carpet. That drink up in my cup, so you know I got the Marley. I'm moving real slow, so you know I'm on this scissor. All this ice around my neck, call me Mr. Condo Blizzard. And yeah, I'm real, like the bridges on the nizzer. Listen, rock in my cup, can't keep the beamer off the kizzer. It's gonna be a long night, I'ma be up all night. Hit the club, throwing stacks, cause you know my money right. Swag so ridiculous, nigga looking excellent. And it's about time I relearn my medicine. I'm on that Diddy, I'm on that Bob Marley. I'm on that Diddy, I'm on that Bob Marley. I'm on that Diddy, I'm on that Bob Marley. I'm on that Diddy, I'm on that Bob Marley. So foreign with a bad my money right. Swag so ridiculous, nigga looking excellent, and it's about time I relearn my medicine. I'm on that Diddy, I'm on that Bob Marley. I'm on that Diddy, I'm on that Bob Marley. I'm on that Diddy, I'm on that Bob Marley. I'm on that Diddy, I'm on that Bob Marley. I'm on that Diddy, I'm on that Bob Marley. I'm on that Diddy, I'm on that Bob Marley. I'm on that Diddy, I'm on that Bob Marley. I'm on that Diddy, I'm on that Bob Marley.
All right, song number 2 there on MSI. Let's go to John first and find out what he thought. John, your thoughts?
Well, there's bass enough in that for 2 songs. So we're going to chop half of that and put it in the first one. Now, the bass was pretty minimalistic. However, it had the sound. This is the bass sound that they're trying to get in like a 1978 Buick Skylark with a bigger speaker system than the price of the car. That you can get the sound, the bass speakers moving so much air that is what's propelling the car. That you can hear from 10 miles away, feel it from 10 miles away, and you know what I'm talking about, don't you all? The song itself, but I mean, besides at the end getting me kind of the repetition being a little numbing to my head, it actually sounded pretty good, if you ask me. The quality of the vocals to me. Now, whether it was doubled and tripled or he was actually did sing it over many tracks, I don't know. I don't care. I thought that it sounded pretty darn good, and in the background vocals going on, kind of a calling and answering thing. It kept me interested. And that's what I think of that one.
All right, very cool. Thanks, John. Appreciate that. And let's find out what Leigh thought of track 2. Leigh, what do you think?
Well, I liked that a lot more than I thought I would when it started. The very intro I really liked, the sort of bells and that one I thought was good. It built a bit of drama up, which was a nice way to begin things. Yes, there was definitely some bass on that one. No problem hearing that. Overall, I'm not the best person to comment on this. I don't know very much about this type of music, but I thought the vocals were well structured. I liked the different sounds of the voices, and as John was saying, the way they kind of overlapped and kind of answered each other was really good and well put together. Some of the words were quite funny. I loved the rhyming green with Heineken. Without turning this into an advert for lager beer, I thought that was a really nice rhyme. And I liked the bit towards the end where it sounded like the vocals were kind of dropping out. They were obviously kind of deliberately doing that because then the music did the same 30 seconds or so later.
I will let you know this track was edited for language by the artist when they submitted it.
I was about to ask exactly that because there was one bit where it didn't sound like it was supposed to be there, and that's quite interesting because I thought that actually gave a really good effect. I really liked that. But as I said, there was a bit later on where they kind of switched the music off, and I really liked that. I thought that was a nice moment. Necessarily a bit monotone and a bit, they've got that thing where the music's really only moving by I think it was a semitone, so you've got that kind of da-da-da feel throughout. So it does have the repetition. It's whether it's good repetition or good monotone, isn't it? That's an interesting question. And it took about half a minute to end, and I thought that was a bit too long. Overall, a bit long anyway. But as I say, I liked it more than I thought I would.
All right. Appreciate that, Leigh. Thank you very much. And now let's find out what Ian thinks. Ian?
I mean, my first on this was the mix was far too overcompressed and far too much high-end EQ. There was an annoying hi-hat that was ticking through my head all the time. It sounded tight in the mix from the point of view of performance, but it was just sitting there ticking away, and it got quite frustrating in the end. And I think this whole track needs probably a remaster. I think the mix is probably there, but I think they've taken this in for mastering. It's just been compressed, so everything's just on top of each other and fighting for place. But in saying that, what a strong groove. Loved the bass line, loved the way they used that sort of dramatic minor sort of bass sitting underneath all of the vocals. It was kind of what the orchestral sort of sample, whatever they were using. Really did like that, sort of really held the track together. And the vocal performances were really tight and really well done. And, everything was there. The performance was there. They were feeling what they were singing, or rapping, should I say. Loved the hook. The hook stuck in my head. I'm on a Bob Marley. Trying to understand what they mean by that, me being so naive about these things. Maybe they're just on a Bob Marley record, right?
Maybe
there's a drug implication. I can't work it out anyway. But really, really did like the lyrics. As Leigh was saying, there's some good storytelling going on there. Nice use of language and modern references to modern culture and things like that being used. Yeah, I like Leigh. I found myself enjoying this a lot more than I thought I was going to from the get-go. But it really does need looking at a remaster job. Go back to your original mix and remaster this. Not so much compression, not so much top-end EQ. And I think that would be a much nicer track to listen to.
All right, I appreciate that, Ian. Thank you very much. Now, let me introduce the track to everyone. The name of that song is called Diddy-Bob Marley, and the group is called The Graduators at MSI. So we appreciate them sending that in to us. And want to remind everybody out in the audience that after you've listened to all three tracks, we highly encourage you to do your duty at MSI and hit our Be a Witness page. Go through the witness statement, answer the 3 polls that are there to let us know what you think about the tracks themselves. And we'll bring you the results of this week's polls next week and let you know exactly what's going on there. But before we get to all that, we have a third song to listen to, gentlemen. So if you're ready, I know you are, and I know everyone out in the audience is as well. Let's go ahead and take a listen to that track. So here it is, everyone, track number 3 on today's Music Scene Investigation.
go to see my father in his khaki clothes, out in the garden, tending the rose. Oh, and my sister tells me to stay in touch. I know I'm losing my lane, so I better walk fast tonight. So you better walk. If ever anything wants to fall, well, it'll fall tonight. If anything wants to fall.
There you have song 3 on today's MSI, and I want to take and go over to Leigh Heggarty first to find out what you thought. What do you think of that one, Leigh?
Very interesting. Right, like the intro, jazzy chords were quite nice. And then the distorted guitar came in, which I liked. I like the sort of, I think they call it a juxtaposition, don't they? Where there's one sound and another sound, which shouldn't really fit together, but I thought they did. And I like the tremolo effect on one of the instruments as well. That was really good. However, I thought the intro was too long. They took too long to get to the vocal. I thought it was going to come in after the second sequence, and nothing happened. And for a while, I actually thought it was an instrumental track. So I felt that they kind of built it up nicely, but I just felt that went on a little bit too long. The vocals were good. I quite like that kind of half-spoken, half-talking feel. It always makes me think of Tom Waits, although that sounded nothing like Tom Waits, but it always makes me think of it for some reason. So I quite like that, although it's a bit of an acquired taste, and I'm not sure how many other people would agree with me on that. Nice change into what I'm going to call the chorus. I know it wasn't a sort of a hooky chorus, but that kind of change into the sequence was good. And I liked the fact that each time that came in, there was a madder and madder guitar sound sneaking in underneath it, and there was some really quite interesting guitar playing going on there, some very, very interesting playing. That kind of overall effect, again, maybe the whole thing was a bit too long. Maybe, don't know. I'll think about that. Although it didn't feel too long, so maybe I'm not so sure what I'm saying there. Really, overall, I liked it. A lot going on. I'd like to hear it again. Let's put it that way. So I liked it.
All right. Thank you very much, Leigh. Appreciate that. And let's go over and talk with John. Find out what he thought. John?
Oh, I just skipped me.
I'm going to skip you, and I'm going to come back to you. Behave.
Right, fine.
So there.
John, what do you think?
That's why I get paid the big bucks, Ian.
Oh, right, okay, like that, is it?
So I've got a baby.
Leigh just took all my lines.
Oh, sorry, John.
That's okay. This is the first time I've done this. I've not done this, but I took some notes this time. And I'm going to have to do a lot of dittos what Leigh was saying. The intro was too long. It was. It wasn't that it was too long. It was. There was nothing happening there. After about 38 seconds, I'm thinking to myself, "Well, is this all it's going to be? Is this not even the intro? Is this what the whole song's going to be for 4 minutes here?" And then after, it was 40 plus seconds that the intro went on with nothing interesting happening in it. And I'm not a fan of long intros to begin with, so this was even worse at that. It is a marriage between Tom Waits and Jay Giles at one point. And a bit of Bob Dylan guitar thrown in there, the vibratos and the guitars. And there was one point, I think after the first... somewhere after the first or second verse, maybe after the first chorus, the instruments kind of dropped out. It didn't even sound intentional. It just sounded like they just forgot to put some instrumentation in there. Very quirky. I like the quirkiness of the chord progressions. Some perhaps a little bit too quirky. I'm not sure, but it was interesting. And I too, like Leigh, would like to listen to it again with a little preparation in my head for what's going to come. But all in all, it was decent. It was okay. It was just that intro that threw me off really big time.
All right. Well, I appreciate it, John. Thank you very much. Now let's go over to the apparently a little miffed at me, Ian. Ian, what do you think of track 3?
He's going to be silent now.
He's going to try and pull a Tommy, but I know he can't do it.
No, I wouldn't do that to you, Rich. I understand you're leaving the best till last. Anyway. Really enjoyed the instrumental sounds on this. The piano tone was lovely. The bass tone was nice. If slightly consistent, I did feel the bass sort of was there and then in parts wasn't there. And I think that's more a performance thing than it was a recording thing. Well, it's a performance thing in the recording, but not necessarily a production or mix thing. So yeah, it kind of just sort of maybe the notes weren't as clear when being played. The drums started off sounding really distant and underproduced. They weren't slick enough. They weren't fitting in with the rest of the track. But as the heavier guitars came in, the drums did improve, and the snare became heavier and a bit louder and a bit more present. So that sort of cleaned that one up for me. Again, the guitar tones I did like. Although I did find some of that guitar noise, I must say, a bit unnecessary. It was, somewhere under the vocals, it was overpowering the vocal line a little bit. And, if it was meant to be noise, it should have been noise. Sometimes it was too close to what it should have been, so it sounded more like it was being played out of tune rather than played like that for effect, if that makes sense. And it had a fade out on it. I mean, come on. I mean, overall, I just found it meandered. It didn't really go anywhere. It was kind of like a lazy Sunday jam that sort of had a start and an ending, but really didn't do much in between. It was just always there. I mean, I didn't really pick out an obvious chorus, an obvious hook. Again, the lyrics haven't stuck with me at all. And yeah, I mean, there were some vocal layering going on there, but it needed more, and they needed to be better mixed and harmonies and bring it in. The guy, again, it was Tom Waits, it was Bob Dylan, without wanting to repeat what everyone else has said. The intro was too long. I mean, it was kind of there, but it does need some work, and especially on the arrangement from my point of view.
All right. Well, I appreciate it, Ian. Thank you very much. Now, before we get to that ever-important Song of the Week bit, let's talk about who sent this in and the name of it. The name of it is called Fall, and it's from Tim McFate. Tim McFate with Fall. And thank you very much, Tim, for sending that track into Music Scene Investigation. Again, a reminder, if you're out there listening to the show, watching the show, whether it's live or recorded, we want your opinion. Head to the Be a Witness page. Just click on that Be a Witness button off to the right-hand side of where you're watching or listening to the show, and let us know what you think. We definitely want to know that. Now, Ian and John and Leigh, we've got to do this little thing we called Song of the Week selection, so I need to throw it over to you guys and let you guys talk it out and figure out what you want to do for a Song of the Week this week.
Well, I want to ask the three of you guys first one short little question. Just throw it around the table for just a short period. What do you guys think qualifies? What are you looking for when you're thinking of the Song of the Week?
For me, I think it changes. What changes week in, week out. I mean, depending on what the three songs are coming in like. So my opinion changes. I mean, if you've got three very well-produced songs, but they're badly written, then obviously you're looking at a different aspect than you would be maybe if you had a really well-written song that wasn't as well-produced against a well-produced song that was badly written. So it does change with the songs from my point of view.
What do you think, Leigh?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I think it's. I find myself sitting here making these very difficult to read notes, and I always when I go to speak about it, I find myself disregarding the bits where I've written about sounds in it, because I try to hear the song rather than the sound of the recording. which is quite hard to do. You have to kind of hear through it almost, don't you? It's a weird feeling. You have to kind of blot out the fact that you might not like one side of it or the mix of it or some such. However, the other way of looking at that, I suppose, is that we should assume that it's being sent in because it's something they want us to hear, you know. So if they're pleased with it and they're pleased with it enough to send it in, and certainly if I was sending something in, I'd only send something that I thought was worthy of consideration, I suppose. So, yeah. Go on, sorry.
Rich, what do you say?
Hey, I'm just the host, man. I don't have a say in any of this stuff, and you guys figure it out.
In the middle of the road there, that's good.
But as being the host, do you think? I mean, I understand exactly what Ian's saying. It changes with what we're listening to each week. But you, as the major host here, what do you think the major consideration of the panels this should be? Whether is it ready? Should it be ready for radio? Does it need a lot of work? Is it the crappy song? Whether you like the genre or not, is it well done? Which of these things do you think add up to the?
All right. Well, personally, here are my thoughts on it. If you're on the panel, you should do three things. Number one, take your own review into account and the reviews of the other panelists. Number two, determine what song you liked out of the songs that you listened to. And then number three, look at what the audience thinks as well and make a determination based upon those three facts.
Aha. See, I just learned. Yeah, I learned some stuff there. Thank you, gentlemen.
And Pinky has also added in the chat, which is a valid point, is, we need to remember why people might be sending their tracks in. Maybe they want to send the track in for constructive criticism.
And that's,
so maybe all we're getting is a half-finished track rather than the next track, which may be a finished production that someone's released.
Absolutely true, and that's why we do the reviews that we do on Music Scene Investigation. And but the Song of the Week selection is something outside of the scope of the review.
Gotcha. And with that being said, go ahead, go.
This week, I think that, we've got three quite different tracks. I mean, the second track being obviously the most different. The other sort of two, first and third song falling into more of a sort of rocky category. I mean, and from my point of view, this is Song of the Week. And to me, that means it's got to tick certain boxes. It's got to be a well-written song. It's got to have something about it that makes me remember it, that could be put out there commercially and maybe make some bucks or get some radio play or something like that. So this week, I think that's where I'm looking from, because they're all pretty well produced and mixed in their own rights. They're all pretty well written. So really, from which point of view which one is probably going to have the most success?
Understood.
All right, gentlemen. You guys.
With that being said, I'm going to go right in and give you my vote would be for number 2. Reason being, I think it was the most ready for a finished audience. It's certainly not my favorite genre by any means, but I still think if I took into all those things into consideration, I would give the best of the lot to number 2. That's where I stand. You guys fight it out now.
Leigh, after you, dude. You're the guest.
Oh, wow. I was about to surprise myself and go for number 2 as well, actually. But what I'm actually going to go for is number 3, on the grounds that I said I'd like to hear it again. And I think taking it as a personal preference or a personal vote, that swings it just into that for me. But I will also say, without the risk of sounding like all things to all men, I thought 1 was excellent as well, and there was a lot of good stuff on these songs. So there was some nice ideas. But I'm gonna go for number 3. There, that's not the type of music I would necessarily sit and listen to. John's point about 2 is very good. The idea that it's kind of the most finished, perhaps. But I'm going to go for 3 because that kind of, there's some good sounds going on and some nice ideas. So I'm going for them. I said the word interesting a lot when I said number 3 as well, so I think number 3.
It's interesting. It's interesting that you should say that, because my interest was really with 1 and 2, and I thought your interest would be with 1 and 2 as well, in the interest of the artists that we're interested in.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, no, totally seriously, I mean, I think number one, as much as I did find a few problems with it, it's probably the track that I would listen to again. It's probably more my genre, and if it was done a little bit better, I would probably buy it. Number two, totally not my genre. I have listened to this sort of music quite extensively through friends and various partners in my life. And it was very, very well done. Number three, really not my bag. I think the arrangement really lost it for me on that one. So, I think John's right. I think looking at it this week, this is the most finished. Number two is nearly there. It's a case of probably remastering this track to get it out there. And I think it'll have some sort of success on its scene somewhere. People are going to like it. People are going to listen to it.
All right, so there you have it. It looks like number two is going to be our song of the week. That's Diddy-Bob Marley by the Graduators, and congratulations to them. Thank you, gentlemen, all three of you, for sitting on the panel this week, making some tough decisions, I believe, this week. So good job all. Leigh, thank you very much for joining us again. We really appreciate that, and look forward to you coming to the States sometime soon.
It's almost as much as I look forward to us coming to the States one time too. Yeah,
absolutely.
That'd be great. Thanks for inviting me along tonight as well. That was really good fun.
Wouldn't have it
Cheers.
any other way. Love to have you on with us.
Cheers for stepping in at last minute, Lee. It means a lot, dude.
And thank you as well, Jay, for jumping on the wagon with short notice as well. So we appreciate that. So
I'll be checking the mix.
Yeah, check the mail. Check is in the mail. I mailed it out while you guys were debating. So
All right.
All right, so we're going to play out with the song of the week, Diddy-Bob Marley by the Graduators here on MSI. Hope you enjoy it, and we'll see you again next time on Music Scene Investigation. A note before we go, next week's guest panelist, John Schroeder, going to be back with us. We hope you are as well. We'll talk to you again next time on Music Scene Investigation, everyone. Thanks again.
Make the burn slow. I be on them trees like I'm in a jungle. Been leaning off the rock from the get-go. But best believe I keep that pump on me like a sicko. Wrist so cold, call me a mule bean. Green diamonds looking like a whole case of Heineken. V-neck skinny jeans, stupid fruity SP. Bank account super fat, it's about to have a heart attack. I'm smoking on some that had your whole face paralyzed. All white mercy, Twizzlers on the inside. Mac, catch this, I'm fast like Gordon. You been on that boy for years like Jordan. It's gonna be a long night, I'ma be up all night. Hit the club, throwing stacks, cause you know my money right. Swag so ridiculous, nigga looking excellent. And that's about time I relearn my medicine. I'm on that Diddy, I'm on that Bob Marley. I'm on that Diddy, I'm on that Bob Marley. I'm on that Diddy, I'm on that Bob Marley. I'm on that Diddy, I'm on that Bob Marley. Now I'm on that Bob Marley. Just a Bama script, now I'm going to my party. Down that party, it's so boring. 325, beamer for my darling. Looking for you ain't picking in the air hardly. I'm good with that, like a dentist doing flossing. Take it to the throat with no gag in a party. That drink up in my cup, so you know I got the Marley. I'm moving real slow, so you know I'm on this scissor. All this ice around my neck, call me Mr. Condo Blizzard. And yeah, I'm real, like the bridges on the nither. All this rock in my cup.
smoking on some rockin' bar, Marley. Pull up in that new Benz with a bad chick. You know the liquor pulled up and the stay lit. G'd up cards and hot call the arsonist. Been up all night, so I'm feeling like zombies. Pocket full of thousands, bad around me. Baller of the year to say I deserve the Heisman. Cannabis and vodka, feeling like a roster. With a pill man there so he can feel my order. You get low and I get no if that too dry. It's gonna be a long night. I'ma be up all night. Hit the club, throwing slack, cause you know my money right. Wearing so ridiculous, nigga looking excellent. And this is my time, I reload my medicine. I'm on that Diddy, I'm on that Bob Marley. I'm on that Diddy, I'm on that Bob Marley. I'm on that Diddy, I'm on that Bob Marley. I'm on that Diddy, I'm on that Bob Marley. It's gonna be a long night, I'ma be up all night. Hit the club, throwing slack, cause you know my money